All right, that's right. You can always join this program by calling 515-955-1400. Of course, I'm at JMike1400 on Twitter, and you can go to the station Facebook page at AM 1400 KVFD. We're also there on StreamYard, audio and video. We're there at AM 1400 KVFD and the Alpha Media for Dodge website, as well as my personal Facebook page. So have a ball. Have a ball. Yeah, I was talking about a guy by the name of Sam Richards the last time around, and he is a sociologist at Penn State University. So this is not a small university. This is not some out of the way backwoods wacko theorist we have here. This is someone who is apparently endorsed by the university. Now, before I play another clip, an audio clip of Sam Richards, I want to talk about a story concerning Mr. Richards, Professor Richards, not too long ago. And this comes from the National Review. Sam Richards, during a class that was videotaped, I've seen the video, Sam Richards picked an average white guy. This was a class with mostly white kids, but it was a diverse class. Sam Richards came out behind the podium and picked an average white guy, picked this poor kid up and had him stand up. Had him stand up and prepared him to be ridiculed for no other reason than this poor kid was a white kid. Sam Richards started it by saying, I'll just take the average white guy in class, whoever it is. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to take the average white guy in class. Dude, this guy, now Mr. Richards in his 40s, but he's apparently hip. Dude, this guy here, stand up, bro. This is Sam Richards. What's your name, bro? This bro was a freshman by the name of Russell, who looked totally confused and embarrassed and didn't want to be there at all. But Sam Richards needed him for his experiment, and this is the experiment, and this is what Sam Richards wanted to do with this poor kid. Now look at Russell right here. It doesn't matter what he does. But if I match him up with an identical black guy in this class and we send him into the same jobs, Russell has the benefit of having white skin. In another video clip, Sam Richards points to a projected slideshow referencing a study in which job applicants are segmented by race and criminal record. The paper found that even whites with criminal records are more likely to get callbacks than blacks without one. Sam Richards then turns to the white student, Russell. This poor kid did nothing wrong at all, and his biggest mistake was taking this bozo's class. Richards turned to Russell once again and says, I don't know if it makes you feel sad because, like God knows, I don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't choose to be white. That's what the student said in response. I didn't choose to be white. This is what education wants to do to children across the United States. Shame them. Let's make no mistake about this. And the Department of Education, wherever it is, at whatever level, at the city, county, I don't care. They need to be brought to heel and quickly by our elected officials. Now let's find out what we learned from Sam Richards cornering a student based on his skin color in front of hundreds of classmates. This show trial offered no academic value at all. None. Sam Richards just humiliated this poor kid, and the poor kid went on to say, I didn't choose to be white. It's pathetic. It's cruel. It's vindictive. Do you know of any time in recent history where a black kid was stood up in a college classroom and humiliated until he or she said something like, gee, I didn't choose to be black? Hell no. Richards, of course, has the TED Talk entitled A Radical Experiment with Empathy. This is the name of Sam Richards' TED Talk, A Radical Experiment with Empathy. He has no empathy. He has no empathy whatsoever. He hurt this young man, perhaps affected him in his college life, for no other reason than he was a cruel, ideological fool of the left. The university released a statement defending Sam Richards telling us to take time to discuss opinions from many perspectives, from liberal to conservative, and the classroom conversation is framed in a thoughtful way. Really? You got any conservative sociologists at Penn State? I doubt it. Conservatives are in the business department or accounting. Guys like Sam Richards, yeah, they belong in sociology and they belong in an empty classroom. As a matter of fact, they don't belong in a classroom at all. Here's a little bit more from the TED Talk that Sam Richards gave. Found this on YouTube. A radical experiment in empathy from a man who has no empathy.
Resource. It's not somebody else's, right? It's your land. It's your resource. Somebody else has a design for it. And you know why they have a design? You know why they have their eyes set on it? Because they have an entire economic system that's dependent on that oil. Foreign oil. Oil from other parts of the world that they don't own. And what else do you think about these people? Well, the Americans, they're rich. Come on, they live in big houses. They have big cars. They all have blonde hair, blue eyes. They're happy. You think that. It's not true, of course, but that's the media impression. That's like what you get. And they have big cities. And the cities are all dependent on oil. And back home, what do you see? Poverty, despair, struggle. Look at you.
I wonder if Sam Richards has ever been to Iraq, because I've talked to several young men who served proudly in our armed forces in Iraq and what they told me about Iraq and what the Iraqi people believe. Not surprisingly, they don't think like Sam Richards or you and I at all. They have accepted the fact that their royals, in the case of Saudi Arabia, deserve to have this marvelous life, deserve to have all this wealth. Iraq, as most Middle Eastern countries are, they're very religious people. They're all right with what they have here in this world. They're looking forward to a better world. You know, and Christians do the same. I'm looking for a better world, by the way, than this one. But Sam Richards really doesn't know what he's talking about. There is a flaw in the character, if I may be so bold, in certain groups of people that tells them that it's okay for them to be poor, that the only thing that they should dream about is the next life. And yes, I'm including Christians in this. Get your head out of the clouds and go to work, get a job. That was the best advice I ever had. Go to work, get a job. It's simple. Go to work, get a job. The best advice you'll ever get. Take what you can from your crummy job and keep building. Build some wealth. Maybe you can pass a little something on to the next generation. If the next generation does that, the next generation after that will have more wealth. If they were taught how to handle money. And somehow that message didn't get through to different groups of people. I'm not going to take responsibility for that. I'm not going to say I, as a white person or any other white person, they're bad people because they have these things and other people don't. Do I believe that black people in the United States of America have been treated badly and they are poor in part because of white racism? I will say, of course. But by the same token, if we're going to have an honest conversation about race, we've had the government involved in anti-poverty communities in the black community for a long, long time. And still, poverty seems to be generational in the same families. Is there an answer to that other than it's the white man's fault? Because if that's the answer all the time, then we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere. I think this is true for most people. We realize that it's up to us. We're going to have to take the world as it is and do with it what we can. That's the American spirit and character that Robin DiAngelo, the woman who wrote White Privilege, and she's got a new one out, called Nice Racism, which urges upper middle class white people, professional class, to give away all their money, and I certainly hope they do that. And I hope I'm first on the list. So if you're an upper class, educated, white, professional person, liberal type, please send your money to Michael Devine at 210 North 10th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa, 50501. Would you please do that? I can even give you my bank account number. You can, every month you can send me what you think I deserve, or what I think I deserve, excuse me. You're probably not gonna think I deserve much, but I do, because I've been oppressed, and I grew up poor. Somebody's responsible for that, not me. So it must be your fault. So buy Robin DiAngelo's book, Nice Racism. They're wealthy white people who always seem to be looking down their noses at the working class. Buy Robin DiAngelo's book. It'll probably be in the Democratic Party platform, which tells nice liberals, comfortable, wealthy liberals, that they're not worth a damn and they should give their money away, essentially. I'm ready. I'm ready. Again, send your money, if you're a guilt-ridden white liberal, direct or cash payments, doesn't make any difference, to 210 North 10th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa. Thank you very much. I won't appreciate it because I deserve it. Did you hear what I just said there? I won't appreciate it because I deserve it. My ancestors, the Irish, were brutally exploited, not only by the British on the old Emerald Isle, but here in this country. And I have historical fact to back that up. So the only thing that you can say to me to tell me that I don't deserve something because I am indeed part of an oppressed group is that, yeah, but you're white. That's all anybody has to say. Yeah, but you have white privilege because, you know, you're white and you lived off the labor of minority people. No, I lived off my own labor. Thank you. It wasn't pleasure. It wasn't pretty. And yes, there were some branches of my family that completely failed. You know why they failed? In my opinion, we were waiting to go to heaven. The Catholic Church, you know. Catholic Church promises a lot in the next life, but not much in this life. So I'd like to talk about that as well with my fellow Catholics, but not right now. This is AM 1400 KBFT, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at jmikefort.
Yeah, 426, the news is coming up.
Managing corn rootworm. Hello, I'm Megan Grevner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with DeKalb. Corn rootworm is one of the most damaging pests corn producers face every year. In this Managing for Profit, DeKalb agro technical agronomist